Are we live? All right, we're on. Welcome everybody to our live stream tonight. We're obviously not doing any teaching tonight or preaching, but we're going to do a roundtable session. Wanted to kind of change up the order a little bit. And next week, if you weren't aware, we're going to be changing over to Sunday night live service.
And we'll still be live streaming.
Yep, we'll still be live stream just like we are. And we're going to be doing live service. So that's really awesome. So we wanted to kind of give an opportunity to ask any questions that y'all might have during the time tonight. So if you want to, get your pen ready. I'm going to give you a very special phone number. We're going to give this one time. So if you don't get it, then you ain't going to have it. No, it's okay. We'll give it again. 606-875-9616. That is Bishop Johnny Dunbar's personal cell phone number. And that is for you just to keep to yourself. And you can have that. You can text to him any questions you have tonight or any other time for that matter. So he is a brave soul, because I would not be giving out my personal phone number, although I give it out all the time on business cards.
It's we're laughing, but Sister Maddie put, our treasurer, she put a check reorder form on my desk, and I had never noticed on our church checks, I guess it was a mix up the bank, they put my cell phone number on our church checks.
This is a church check
instead of the church number on there. So that's kind of interesting. So I don't need any. Like I said one time, I told them don't call me if your dog's sick or something. But if you need me, that's okay.
What I found unusual was that when you just handed this to me, and I was looking at my phone, and the number that you give for me the other day is different than this number here. Was this a different? What? Did you not want me calling you?
Actually, I'm throwing everybody off from it. It's not really my phone number, but I'm throwing everybody off from it.
So anyway, we're going to change the order of service a little bit tonight, and I notice we're getting some more people on, so we're going to continue to sort of wait a little bit till people jump on here, and we'll give that number again. We have a few other announcements. I know we had a lot of prayer requests this morning that were mentioned for those, and I'm not very good at remembering all of those things, obviously. When I get my prayer time, I tend to remember a little bit more about certain individuals, whether it would be Jeff or Benita or Judy in the back and her niece and so forth, and different ones around here. But there were two specifically this morning that I wanted to remind everybody of. First is Mikey Randolph, and he's in Lake Cumberland Hospital right now, so we want to remember to pray for him. He is really, as far as I understand, in extremely bad shape. Yes. Not good at all. Not good at all. And so we want to pray for him. But also we want to remind everybody about Kathleen Stigall's funeral. She passed away this week. On Monday, we're going to have visitation at 11 o'clock at the Southern Oaks over on 914. And then 1 o'clock will be the service for her. So keep that family in prayer and everybody involved in that. So we want to kind of remind everybody about that. Also, besides Sunday night getting back to somewhat normalcy as far as service-wise, 2 weeks ago, Children's Church resumed in face-to-face as well. So I know they're excited about that. The kids have a good time. They enjoy that. I know Nick and Amy enjoy having them face-to-face. Like to have that interaction with the people, which again is another reason why Sunday night is such a good thing to have, face-to-face interaction. Can't get that at home. So we want to remind everybody about that. With that same thing, we have Backpack Sunday. We had it a couple of weeks ago. As far as I understand, there are still some backpacks
Should
left.
be some back
Yep.
there.
Amy told me this morning that they had a couple more backpacks go out today. But if you are interested, if you have a child or a friend has a child or neighbor, whatever it might be, has a child, please let us know. Give us the age of the child and whether it's a boy or a girl, and we can provide them with a backpack. And there's some supplies in there as well. It's not just the backpack, obviously. For those of you who have been involved with this here at Heritage Hope before, and we ask for the age because they provide certain things within the backpack specific to that age.
Yeah, we go up to I think it's up through grade school or middle school, and then it changes over, and the backpacks are fixed according to what age group they're in.
Folders, paper,
Sure, yeah.
markers, crayons, whatever the kid might need and so forth. Plus, very importantly, probably the most important thing in each one of those, prayer cloth.
Yeah, they're prayed over, yeah.
Prayer cloth that is anointed and prayed over is placed in each one of those backpacks, and it's always a good thing to have that in there. Take that with them. And this is not superstition. It's not lucky charm. It's nothing like that, but it is a reminder to that child, I believe, that they open that backpack one day. They're having a bad day. Maybe, kids get bullied. Kids get picked on, or they have a bad time in class or whatever. And they open that backpack, and I believe they look down, they see that. And it's a reminder to that child in that moment that somebody loves them, that God is in control.
Believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's important. So let us know about that if you would. Men's Fellowship. We have started up again. Last month was our first one back together again. For those of you who don't know, Men's Fellowship, ladies' Bible study, and the men do a Bible study also. We've been in First John, and we're going to continue in that right there. So if you still have your booklets, great. I know we kind of stopped in the middle of one of our sessions there last time. We're just going to pick up where we were. If you don't worry about it. I'm going to have some more printouts for everybody. But we do this the first Monday of each month. So this month it's going to be coming up. It's going to be November 2nd, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
November 2nd. And we meet right over here in the fellowship hall. And the ladies meet in the children's church area. We have sanitized stuff beforehand and then afterwards. And, make sure everybody's, nobody's running a temperature, all those kind of things, and do what we're supposed to do. Jeff and I partner together. Jeff Stringer and I partner together on this. And, we've decided on doing soup this time. Soups and stews and things like this. If anybody wants to bring, I know Jeff's got plans on what he's going to bring. I know that, I think I'm going to do the corn chowder. A lot of people like the corn chowder, so I'm going to do the corn chowder. I might do a cabbage salad thing that I like to do also. We like to play out the menu. I'll guarantee you one thing, you are not going to be going away hungry, that's for sure.
Amen.
Yep, so, but that's going to be at 6:30 Monday night, first Monday of the month. So make sure to be here with us for that fellowship time. Just kind of going through here. We getting some more folks? For those of you who just joined, we're going to be taking questions, and if you want to, you can put them on Facebook, or you can text the pastor at 606-875-9616. 875-9616. We're taking questions there about anything you might have question about, anything we're talking about, or anything that just, you've been wanting to ask or whatever. Giving. Always important. Yes. Tough to move ministry without it, right?
That's right. You can't move ministry without it.
That's right. So some of the opportunities to give here, you can mail in your offering if you choose to. You can go through the P.O. Box. That address there is P.O. Box 731, zip code 42502. So you can mail in your offering that way, your tithes and offering. Or if you want to, now we had the foyer of the church open throughout the week before. We've kind of narrowed that down a bit. Let me see if I get this right. Let me try to get this right.
Okay, let's try.
All right. Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
You're right.
Okay. Now, what are the hours that is it?
At Wednesday, we have it open by 4 o'clock, and it'll be open till live stream's over.
Okay.
On Friday, 4 to 7.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, we leave on Sunday. We leave it open till after we get through with our live stream on Sunday night or after the service. And that's where we'll do it. So
perfect. So what you can do is, other than Friday, just come on to church.
Yeah, that's great. That's Sunday. A great idea.
Just come on to church and give that way. But obviously the foyer will be open. You can come on in. We have a strong box right next to the kiosk in the foyer there, so you can put in your offering that way. We have our envelope slips there where you can write on the outside of the envelope, denote where you want the monies to go to and so forth, tithes, offering, special projects within the church, general fund and so forth. Or you can use the kiosk right there. Very handy. I use it all the time. Didn't think I ever would, actually. Didn't think I would ever. I was one of those old school guys. I was like, I'm not using that thing. And then, I hate writing checks. So I would always get cash and put cash in. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, I started using the kiosk. And it's been a lot easier. Yeah. So, so the kiosk is there. So you have your online giving. So if you were not aware of this, if you like to be very tech savvy and you're definitely living in your basement bunker and you want to give, you can go online to our website, and there is an app there that you can go and click onto and that you can give online. And that works good too. So those are all the different giving things. But there have been some special projects we want to give to also, right?
Yeah, we have, since we're 7 months and 1 week into the pandemic of having to adjust and be in and out, having sometimes totally live stream, but we have, over the course of this, focused on 4 areas of giving. There's more than that, but 4 we're focused on. World missions has suffered a hit in the our Church of God World Missions has anyway in the pandemic. We're in 180 something of 190 something countries in the world. We've got ministries there, and we're finding that our giving has been cutting up about 80%. If we target missions and ask people to support missions, we ask them to support the office of the evangelist. The evangelist is unemployed right now. I mean, that's just it. We'll talk in a minute. We're going to do a revival here in a few weeks, but the evangelist is technically unemployed. It's just hard, and so we try to encourage people to give where we can pass that to the evangelist, or we'll give you the evangelist's address if you want to send it straight to him. It doesn't matter. But we're trying to support that. We're trying to support that office, and also the food pantry here in Somerset. God's Food Pantry is probably one of the best run charities I know of, and we try to help them. But people give food. They take food donations, but cash donations are really good because they can get more bang for the buck than any of us can together. So we try to support them and encourage giving on them. And then we have our Smoky Mountain Home for Children in Sevierville, Tennessee, and I know their giving is down about 20% this year. The what's going into them, and we try to support them. For over the years, it's been called the Orphans Home, but now it's referred to as the Smoky Mountain Home for Children. It's been a part of my life all my life. And
now you are, some of you may not know this, Pastor, you are on the board of the Smoky Mountain Children's Home.
Yes, I am.
He wouldn't tell you that because he's very shy about stuff. He's actually, I think what it is.
I'm actually new to the board too. I've not had the time to get it out, really. Is what it is.
Did I unload something I shouldn't?
That's okay. I wouldn't even unload it. So, but the giving is down about 20% there. And I really think what is this in things like this where we're having a little activity, the evangelist is hurting bad. The evangelists are hurting bad. God's Food Pantry, I don't know their stats, but I know giving has slowed down there. Right. But in World Missions and Home for Children, which are 2 Church of God strictly funded things, or things that funds go through the Church of God, I assume the 80-20 principle works. You go find most people, the people that give and are faithful givers, it doesn't stop as long as they've got an income coming in. Right. And so, but you can figure you're going to lose some just the things. Some people lost their jobs in this and things. Right. And so if we can just help a little, it's almost like the little boy putting his finger in the dike. If we can just slow things down a bit till we can get back to some kind of normalcy. So those are the things that we support, and I encourage people to keep supporting them.
Absolutely. So there's some of the giving things there. Like you said, the Children's Home. We usually do $15 gift cards.
Right. Thank you. I'm getting a little slow on things, but we try to give based on how many kids are at the home, and that thing it fluctuates sometimes. We work when you talk about when I was a kid, there was an orphan's home. It was really. Some parents had to take their kids there because they couldn't afford to raise them, and things. And we had situations like that. Now, we don't have as many orphans. We have some parentless kids. But, we've got a society where grandparents raise kids. But we also work with the Tennessee, with the Tennessee Human Resources. And we are certified with them, and they help us they place kids in the home now. But we're going to run anywhere between I'd say 70 and 90 would be, I'd say that may be a little high there on the numbers. And so we try to bless all those kids with at least a $15 gift card at Christmas, or just a little something special for them, and they can go out and get something, and I guess makes them, they got purchasing power themselves. And
Sure.
I know I like to have $1 or $2 in my pocket, so I know how that is. We'll do that. Just put you on notice, Heritage Hope. We want you to get ready and to help us with that. We call it the angel tree here, but we need to start early on this. And also just remind you, next Mother's Day, we're going to have another penny march. Good. We gave $3,100 this year from monies that came in, what we promote our penny march. And we're going to do that again on Mother's Day.
Now, remind me, when I was a kid, we would go up front, and there was a little plastic white church, little piggy bank thing. And that's what we would put ours into. Is that similar to
It's similar. When you were a kid, probably you're a little younger than me. But when I was a kid, it was the orphan's home. We called it the orphanage home, right. The orphanage that was how it was referred to. And we had on Sunday morning the orphans march. We also had a mission march. And what we would do, we had a little crown we put on two kids' heads, and they'd hold an offering plate out, and you could put money in those, and whatever went in there went to the Home for Children, plus the Home for Children got the birthday offering too. And then the other went to World Missions. And that's actually how I learned how to give, was by my dad putting a penny in my hand that I could put in those, or 2 pennies, whatever, that I could put in those marches. But the Orphans March always stuck with me. And of course, we all travel to Gatlinburg, and this thing's right when you make that little right there in Sevierville. There you see Smoky Mountain Home for Children, and so it's a place precious to my heart. It really is.
I tell you what, giving is obviously really important, and we talk about it here. You talk about it here, and it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's part of what God's plan for us is. It's part of making us part of the situation. He wants to include us in what's going on. But when you sit here and think about it, you're talking about the children's home and giving the $15. And sometimes folks look and go, well, I can't buy 2 or 3 or 4. You'd like to buy 10.
Yeah.
$15 gift cards for the kids. You can't do it. So, well, if I can't do that, then I'm not going to do anything at all. Even one.
Sure.
One. It reminds me of the story about the loaves and the fishes, and
right.
the apostles, the disciples rather, come to Jesus and say, we don't have any money to go buy. Their focus was on pleasing everybody, on handling everything, rather than just giving it to God what you do have.
Yeah.
And so that little boy comes up with what he's got, a few fishes and a few loaves, and let God do with it from there.
Yeah.
If what you have as a family is to buy one, how many people?
Well,
60 or 80 kids?
Yeah.
If we had every family.
Last year we sent 100 cards to make sure we covered everybody, because the total fluctuates from week to week, Okay. And so we sent 100 cards last year, or sent $1,500 total last year. And that would be my goal this year, just to make sure we cover everything, And what I say, if you've run out for the kids, take the staff there and give them a card, and let them know we appreciate them too. That it's actually just a statement that's not going. $15 not going to change the world in a kid's hand, but it might change their heart.
Yeah,
and they might see that they just see the generosity in people.
Absolutely. So those are most of our announcements there. I see we probably have some more people coming in and out and watching and so forth. I want to give you a very special number. You can write this down. This is Pastor's personal cell phone number, and it is 606-875-9616. Don't lose that number. That is. I already said it before. That is not the same number that he had give to me to call. So I don't know if this might not be a right number. This might be Gary's number.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, go on.
All right. So we've got through most all the announcements and so forth. So what about future events?
Okay, future events. We're going back in-house next Sunday night. It's just Sunday night. We're trying to work through this thing, because I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I don't know what's going to happen. We all thought in March that we wouldn't be talking about this in October, November, but we're going to be. I think we'll be talking about it next year. But we're going to try to go to Sunday night, and we're just going to, we have some protocols in place here that I don't know if everybody likes protocols, but they protect us pretty good so far. And but what we're going to do on Sunday night, because we have to do some sanitizing work after each service, we have 4 rows of pews here. If you're not familiar with our church, we have 4 runs of pews. And we're going to move everybody into the middle 2 runs of pews that we can and still social distance. And then as we have to spread out, we will, to just try to help the people that are volunteering to clean. But we also need the Sunday morning volunteers have been good. I mean, man, this morning it was kind of funny. We had everybody came at one time today. Everybody showed up at one time. I mean, and they were one volunteer had to run back to another job, and then they were running around trying to get everybody's temperature and get it wrote down that they'd been checked and everything. Because, but we're going to need, it won't be as hectic, I'm sure, on Sunday night. But we're going to need some help with volunteers here on Sunday night. Yeah. And what this is going to do, this is going to open it up a little more, trying to get back toward that normal if we ever do get back to it. Let our preachers, Brother Kevin and Brother Nick, have been very faithful to come in here on Sunday night and preach to a microphone. And if you, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but they have done that and have done that faithfully. And this is going to have, it's good on Sunday morning for me to have an audience. I want to say this. So I think this is going to be great. We're just going to need a little help. We won't need a whole lot of help. We're going to need a little help. Then we're going to need some people to help us clean. We're getting those lined up. The protocols won't change. We're staying with that. It'll be what it was, because it's worked for us. And you can say we're scared or we're skittish. I'm going to say I am very, very cautious. And I've said from the very beginning, I want to do what I do out of an abundance of caution. As a pastor, I'm going to protect our church. So Sunday night, we're going to be starting back. We may try to do some unique things to we're going to have to flow with it and see what happens. So come and be with us next Sunday night at 6 o'clock for live. We'll still be live streaming, but you'll be welcome to come in house. Also in November the 15th, we're hoping this will work. Like I said, everything is fluid right now. But Brother Anthony Noel will be with us here. Wonderful. On Sunday morning through Wednesday night to minister to us in revival. And it will be different. It'll be different. Our protocols are going to be in place there too. But we're going to hear some good word. Yeah. And you'll hear it if you're watching a live stream. You'll hear it here. If our worship is, we've not quit worshiping. We have done some unique things on Sunday morning. We invite you to come and stand in a certain spot, and we social distance. And I don't know about you, but as a pastor, I've loved it. I felt a sweet spirit. This morning was a sweet spirit in our altar service this morning. And I thank God that we've had people saved in our altars that have come down, and we have a protocol for that. And it sounds like we're overly organized in some ways. And that's a broad statement for me, because you all know me. But I always remember this, that when Jesus got ready to multiply loaves and fishes, the Bible said he set them down in rows. That's right. He set them down in rows, and so we're going to work with Brother Anthony. We'd talk the other day, and he said, we're still on. Yeah, we're still on, and we know he's become a son of this church. Yeah. And he has blessed us time after time in revival, and I believe God's going to give him a word, and he's going to be pumped and primed, and I believe that we're going to be blessed. So we're going to start that on Sunday morning. I don't know where a lot of things we can't do during Christmas that we would normally do, but we're going to be here and just try to as I said, sometimes we're doing things on the fly. And so we will. One thing we're going to do for Christmas, it's going to be spiced up for Christmas this year. It's going to look Christmassy around here. And we're going to sing some of the songs of Christmas and things. We can't do everything we've done, but we're going to do that. So that's what we're dealing with in the future right now. We're going to go into 2021. And this is my personal observation, and I'll probably touch this on more in a minute. But we're going to have to deal with COVID. We're going to have to learn how to live with COVID. That's what we're trying to do. So much has gone through, and we hear some on the news and so forth about different vaccines or conditions and things like this right here. And so, what do you think about what's going on? What's your take on COVID-19? What do you think we're facing? I've got a personal opinion that I think we're facing something that is not going to go away quickly. We are 100 years from the Spanish flu pandemic. People say the Spanish flu pandemic was 2 years. In fact, it was almost 3 years. It began in January of 18 and was considered ended in December of 20. So that's ironically, that's when we started our home for children. Wow. was about the time the pandemic hit, and I don't know whether that has anything to do with it or not, but I think that we're going to deal with this. We're going to deal with one thing. We're going to deal with the reality of COVID into 2021. That's what I think. Number two, we're going to deal with the memory of COVID for a long time after it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be something that's putting a little caution in people's spirit, and it's going to be a while, I think, where we're going to see the old time right hand of fellowship hugs in the church, and that's my opinion. I don't know. God can snap His fingers and stop it, and this goes to another place. This could be the storm that I preached about 8 years ago.
And I was thinking about the same thing the other day, talking about. So let's say, for argument's sake, that they come out with a vaccine of some sort in the next few months, or by the first of the year, something like this right here. Do you think that people are still going to have this sort of fear in their mind, regardless of what reality might be, and how that's going to affect the body?
I think that there's always going to be this caution. It's like when you've touched the hot stove. Every time you pass it, you wonder if it's hot or not.
Sure.
And so I think it's going to take a while. For our generation, Kevin. I think this has been. I think this has marked us. And I think we're going to be. I remember laughing a few years ago at the hospital, and I have to watch things. I have some problems. I have some problems with the low immune system. I have to really watch things. But I was coming off the elevator at the hospital, and I got tickled at a lady because when she got on the elevator, she put her hand in her pocket, and she reached out and pushed the button.
Yeah.
I won't laugh at her anymore. That's the world we live in now. But I was kind of laughing at her then, And I'm probably not as cautious as I should be, but I do have a lot of caution, and I try to practice things that are safe. I limit where I go. I limit my contacts. You're about as close right now as I get to anybody. When I preach, I stay on the pulpit, and a lot of that's different for me. But I'm learning how to live with it. I'm not going to let it beat me. I told you all a few weeks ago that COVID has tried to separate us. And I've told you that it tries to make us lose our identity because we're all wearing masks. And I told you more than anything else, COVID has tried to suppress our ability to express ourselves in worship. That's why we come down and stand on a blue piece of tape. Just, hey, devil, I'm going to worship anyway.
We've obviously seen a change now. This morning was wonderful because we had quite a few people that have not been back. Well, frankly, most because of the fact that they were older people.
Yeah.
And there was good reason. It wasn't like they were just what we used to say, laying out.
Yeah.
That's a common term.
Or watching Bonanza on Sunday night was the thing around
here. Yeah, even out in Southern California, which is not the South, we still said laying out. So that was a common term, I think, within Church of God or just churches in general. But we've seen more here today, and we see a lot of excitement with folks about coming back Sunday night and so forth, and the different things, which is one of the reasons why we started Men's Fellowship again, Ladies Bible Study, was because people came to us and says, hey, we're ready to start this thing. We're ready to get back going again. And we did see a good turnout on the last one. We had about 25 people or so in the last one, or 20, 25 people, I believe. And so that was good. But, this is affecting the dynamic of the body and how we come together. You've been talking on Wednesday nights about covenant, which you spoke on for almost a year or half a year?
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, but you spoke on for almost a year, 6 months or better, on that subject about coming together and so forth, and the body working together, which is important. And this has had a devastating effect on the body and how we come together. What do you see with that?
Well, I told you, and what I'm going to say now, you've heard expressed, and people, I'm probably, repeating what people are watching on live stream have heard there. When this initially started, I was talking to Anthony, the evangelist that's coming here, and we were talking about the things he was facing. And Anthony was very honorable. He had people that did not want to cancel him because they knew that was his livelihood. But he also realized they were under some pressure themselves, so he canceled a lot of revivals himself. And I told him then, I said, Anthony, this pandemic is going to thin the church, or thin the evangelist. Yeah. And I said, we'll find out who is and who ain't, who's got it and who ain't got it. And that was about the way I said it. But I have noticed something in this 7 months. It's been a learning experience. It's been one of the hardest things I ever went through, because every time we open the doors, I have a worry that somebody might get sick or something, they'd be laid at our door, you know. But I have come to the conclusion as I've watched that there's going to be a thinning in the church. That I thought at first, I thought when we opened the doors back up after our first, I think 2 months we were off and closed down and we opened the doors, I thought they'd flood the church. It didn't happen. Didn't happen. And I began to look, and I feel like the church is being thinned out. Now, look at me. I'm probably could stand to use 50 pounds, and it wouldn't, or maybe more. I see you looking.
You said to look.
I think, and I relate in my mind this thinning out to possibly like someone working to get their body in shape, to get rid of the excess, to get rid of the fat, to get rid of the things that slow us down. That if you're overweight, you have more trouble breathing. If you're overweight, you get tired easier. It's as simple as that. And I think this thinning is actually going to work for the remnant church, the church that hangs. I think it's going to work out good because it's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us become not dependent on numbers, because many times we're dependent on numbers in the church. We say, well, hey, if we've got 300 people, then if 50 of us just take off and don't do anything, the other 250 is going to take it. But then all of a sudden when we find maybe a 30 or 40% reduction in the workers and the people that carry the weight of the church, then we say, hey, if I really want my church to survive, if I really want to step into the future, if I want to do what God wants, then I'm going to have to pick up the load. And I think we're going to see the church get stronger. Tom Raymer said that the church growth of the last 40, 50 years had been transfer growth, where people left one church, went to another church, and that church was growing. Then somebody come back in, and this church grew. And we've seen that, and I can attest that. And he says that the pool of transfer growth has been reduced, because a lot of the people that's dropped away may be that type. I don't know. You know, I've not had time to gauge that. But he said that the transfer growth, that pool's gone. So he said if we're going to win anybody, or if we're going to grow or keep the church strong and grow the church, we're going to have to win souls. Now, one thing you've heard around here the last 6 or 8 weeks, not as much this morning, but one.
Yeah.
The ministry of one, just winning one person. I told you about the old boy that stood on the church on the pulpit of my home church 35 years ago. Longer than that, 38 years ago. And he pointed his finger at about 70 people in the congregation. He said, if every one of us wins one person in the next year, he said, think what that would do in the kingdom. And I'm encouraging y'all to win one person, to find somebody, to focus and winning that one person, because that's what the church is supposed to do anyway. The church is not supposed to, the early churches had no transfer growth because they didn't have a church built for 250 years. So they just went there and tried to get people saved. And they grew a house church, and if that house got too little, they just grew another house church. And that's the way it worked. So I think the church is going to grow stronger. It's like going on a diet. It's like starting to work out. You don't see a result the next day that you start.
Sure.
You commit yourself to a process. Now, I've tried to commit myself to a process of shepherding my people through this time, and to help them grow. I want my word to focus on the word that I preach, to focus on that. So I think the preaching on covenant, because we're thinning, we've got to have covenant. I've got to know that if I give myself to kingdom work in this local church, that I'm going to have people like you that are going to work with me. And you need to know, if you're going to come in here and give yourself to kingdom work, that somebody's going to support you too. And that's what covenant does. Covenant brings us together. It is actually it's a joining together. It's an agreement. It's like a contract, a compact that you come into. And we agree. We talk around here about the blessing, the binding, the breaking of covenant. How be blessed, how it binds you, and how you can break covenant. There's ways sometimes you have to leave. But we talked last week about the establishing of covenant. How covenant is that place where we build that foundation and we grow. And when we have covenant, and what the body sees now, with the body being reduced, they're seeing the necessity of covenant.
Sure.
If there's still as much work to be done. That's why we're pushing world missions, things like this. The work's still out there. COVID didn't stop the work that needed to be done. It just hampered the way we're having to do things. But COVID's trying to kill us. That this is in a sense a spiritual thing. It's been used to try to kill the church. But if we're wise, If we're wise like the Bible tells us to be wise, we see this and now we say, hey, the work's not ceased. And we look and we say, okay, I got two choices. I either quit or I go to work.
Right.
And so if I'm going to go to work, I've got to be strong. But I've also really got to know that I've got people who's going to stand with me in this. If we as a body are going to approach this, so that's part of the thing that where we grow stronger, because we all begin to work harder, and at the end of the day, we produce more with less.
And, when you're talking about the workers and so forth, the thing that jumped into my mind was the story that Jesus told about the husbandman. He goes out in the morning and he hires the workers and they go out. And he gets to so many hours in the day and he realizes this ain't going to get done with the few that he has. He needs more workers. So he goes out and hires some more and at noonday. And then finally comes to about the last hour of the day and they go out and then they come to get paid. And there was a bit of a resentment. It's not only the people that are coming in that, that we need them working, but it's the people that are already in the church that are already doing things. When new people come in to start doing stuff, we can't become jealous and consider them a Johnny-come-lately into the field. Well, yeah, of course you come in now. Where were you a year ago? I've already been doing this for 5 years or 10 years, or I've been at this church for 30 years. Wherever it might be. It might be this church, might be another local church, wherever you're at. And it's the church's responsibility to give them an opportunity to be part of the body.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to go someplace else where they can be part of the body, and so I think that's important also.
Yeah, and when it's just like building strong parents. It's like having strong parents who're growing up and things. People who are strong in the Lord, they're not jealous. They're not worried. They just want to see the kingdom be advanced. And so what they do, they'll take that person under their wing and they'll become a mama or daddy to them and they will grow them. And by doing that, the church will grow and it will produce more with less.
Quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that's where we're at now. Now that's not excusing anything. You say, well, Brother Dunbar, you maybe are beating on the people that just kind of lost interest. No, I don't mean to beat on anybody. It does bother me when people lose interest in the house of in the worship of the house of God, and they basically lose interest in coming together with their brothers and sisters.
Right.
But I understand that's a human thing. So I think it's incumbent on us to be stronger, so that the day comes when they've got to have that fellowship, that we got to be here ready to love them and to bring them into the fold. Just like they'd always been here. So sometimes I do get a little tough on that. I just think I grew up when I got saved. I immediately throwed myself into the work of the church, and that's kind of the lens I look at the church through. That when you get saved, you just go at it and doing what is necessary to be done in the kingdom. But I don't want to beat people to death that maybe have, because it is easy to get out of the habit.
Right.
It's easy to get out of the habit, and I want the place to be open because there's going to be a time somebody's going to have a need.
Right.
And I still want us to be open-armed and ready to meet that need. But I also want us to show that hey, this morning, and you heard me make the statement when I walked to the pulpit. I'm just sitting over here in my chair, just enjoying the worship and things. And I looked at, and this morning when we opened service this morning, there wasn't anybody here hardly, like or 3 or 4 minutes before service opened. And then the doors just flooded, and they come in so fast they couldn't hardly get temps out there, and they were coming in so fast.
This is Church of God.
Yeah, that's Church of God.
That's how we show up.
But it hit me, and I shared this, y'all, that hey, we're here, and just showing up here, just coming back in. It's like look at the devil right now and say, hey, devil, COVID, if it's from you, wherever it's from, didn't stop us today. We're here. We made a statement. As I said, I had a guy tell me one time years ago, and he was out of church, and he said, I would drive by the old church where we were when I first came here to pastor. And he said, and I would drive by on Sunday morning, knew he needed to be in church, and he said, I would check for a couple of cars. People I knew had been faithful. I knew they're still hanging in there. And to them, that was a continuity that maybe he had allowed to break, but these men had kept going. And as I said, people might have drove by here this morning and said, hey, I done it when I was out in the world. Hey, I'm not there right now, but I'm glad they're keeping those doors open. So I'm going to show up there one of these days, and that's going to be home to me. And that's where the church got to understand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether we're running at 70% strength or 50% strength. We can produce. We can produce in the kingdom if we're faithful.
Amen.
And what it does, I've just got to do a little more. I may not want to do a little more. I may not feel like doing a little more, but I've got to do a little more because we've got to keep the work of the kingdom going.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Well, I think, do we have anything else that you want to
Which one?
talk about this one?
I just like to make a statement to the people, if I've not already stated this, that I encourage you that if you call this church home, and you have, if you have underlying conditions, I talk to some older people, and they want to be here so bad, it's tearing their heart out.
Right.
And they support this church with their finances. I go to the post office or I'll go look at. They come by. They support this church faithfully with their tithe and with their offering, and just bless me. They want to be here. There's several things. One thing, they love the house of God, and see, it's not just how much you come to church, but it's the fact that you identify with the local body.
Yeah.
People you love, people you want to be with. And I encourage you that if maybe you've just got a little out of the habit, and maybe it's just got easy to push a button and go to church. I'm glad we have the technology that we can reach people. But if it just got easy for you not to show up, if it's got easy for you not to give as you have normally given, if it's got easy for you not to check on your brothers and sisters to see how they're doing right now because you're out of sight and you're out of mind, I encourage you to rethink your position. I encourage people, Kevin, to think this thing through and say, God, that's my church. That's the church I identify with. And we don't want anybody to come that would harm themselves. That's why I encourage older people to stay home. Right. But if you have health and your immune system's all right, and I don't want you to come to church in fear. I understand that. But I've got to tell you, COVID's everywhere. Not just be carried here. But I encourage you to think your position. And what did the writer in Haggai? I know you've been there a little bit and studying here lately. And Haggai said they started to build the house, and then they had to stop. And then after they could go back, they didn't go back.
Right.
They had to stop, but after they could go back, they didn't go back. And let these three words, I'm going to speak this in King James because that's what we know. Haggai said, the Lord said through Haggai, consider your ways. Consider thy ways. Right. And we have got to consider that. Am I doing what I would do if COVID wasn't here?
Yeah.
Am I doing what I would do if we didn't have the situation that we have? I love you as a pastor. I've got almost working on 25 years here. I love this church. I love this community. I love this people. And I love you enough to look at you out there and to tell you, consider your ways. Do what is right in kingdom service. And if you'll do that, there will be a church until Jesus comes. So there's going to be a church, but there'll be a church that we identify with. There'll be a Heritage Hope Church or a church that spawns from Heritage Hope until Jesus comes. So we love you and we thank you for watching with us tonight. We've got a couple minutes before we're on our 45-minute mark. I want to say a prayer over everybody, if that's okay. Father, we love you and we thank you in the name of Jesus. Lord, I've so enjoyed my conversation with Kevin tonight. I thank you for him and Gary for showing up. And Lord, Gary works behind the scene, but he facilitates, Lord, everything that's going on here. And I thank you for that, God. I thank you for people, Lord, that show up, God, and they do something that's so minute that they think it doesn't really matter in the kingdom. But God, whatever we do in the kingdom, it matters. You keep a record in heaven of the least that is done in the kingdom. And so, God, I simply ask you to touch your church, God, and to help us, Lord, to be an effective body in this time and season that we live in. And help us be faithful to love and to show mercy and be obedient, God. Help us to be benevolent, Lord, and help us to demonstrate grace in our life for all peoples, Lord. And I ask you what I always ask every time I pray, God, that you, Lord, make us salt and light in this community. And let the spirit of Issachar rest on us, Lord, that will understand the times and know what to tell people they ought to do. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for being here.
Bye-bye.